Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to our virtual studio at La Mesita. My name is Abisai, and
Aaron.
and today we connect to Los Angeles via video call, and we are going to meet another wonderful artist. His name is Just Sylvester, aka Marinero.
Marinero is a solo project dreamed up by Bay Area ChicanX songwriter-composer Just Sylvester in 2014. He's a man of many projects and has taken part in groups that develop into a variety of genres ranging from punk hardcore to simple delia.
Francisco Y Madero was the precursor to Marinero and the beginning of his Cholo-Fi signature style of taking samples of 60s Latin music and adding spicy pop flavors. Just takes Marinero's sound elsewhere in Tropical de Cancer, which is rooted in bossa nova and tropicalia, and gathers influence from groups like Chicano rock bands like Los Freddy's, Los Angeles Negros, and Malo. So our first question is, how are you doing today, Jess?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking. It's good to be spend the morning on a weekend with La Mesita here with you guys, and it's been good in LA so far. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to have you here at La Mesita. So, my question is, what's the biggest inspiration for you to make music?
I guess the biggest inspiration for me to make music is I just love writing. I love writing songs so much. Like that's always been like the main drive, I think, for me as a musician. So I still just love the craft of writing songs. I love listening to songs. I love where songs take you, and I just love everything around talking about songwriting or making songs. I'm not a great guitar player. I mean, I'm not like crazy good. I'm not like an amazing instrumentalist, but I think when it comes to songs, that's like just writing is my favorite aspect of music.
It's your bread and butter. All right.
How are you able to polish and manifest your sound and style?
I guess when it comes to producing and manifesting my style, or basically, it's like I'm talking about with writing, like it can happen with songwriting, it can happen in many different forms. It could be, you could pick up a bass guitar, you could play around on a piano, you could play something on a guitar. You never know when you're going to get an idea from either one of those things, and I feel like having, enough instruments to kind of bounce between, for me, different ideas can come that way. But I think when it comes to manifesting ideas, I love connecting songs, or I love, ending a song and going into another, or I like making albums that kind of flow together. And I guess it takes a certain level of like forethought, or like a bigger picture of everything. And I like that kind of narrative, and there's things that you don't expect that come up, obviously, that you don't plan, but I like making these big experiences or albums that people can enjoy from the beginning to end. And as far as manifesting it, I write things down in notes. I use my iPhone for the voice recording. It's funny when after some time, if you just like listen to those notes and you realize like or read notes or listen to little voice demos, you realize, hey, I think I have something here, and so that's basically how I manifest it slowly, and then I work with other musicians to help bring that to life for me as well.
That sounds exciting. As an artist, how are your initial stages when creating a new track? Do you sing chords and lyrics in your head? Do you imagine sounds? How is that process for you?
That's a good question, actually. I imagine sounds. Like, I think for me as a songwriter, like I love chord changes, and if I find a chord change on whatever instrument, that's kind of the best foundation for me, So when I find something that really resonates with me, or if it's something I steal from another artist and I make my own, whatever it is, I really am always listening for melody, and it could take listening to for me over and over again till it really clicks. A melody that really that I really love, or a melody that works for me. But I think I'm always listening for that inner ear, or whatever you want to call it, for those melodies. Yeah, it usually starts with chords first and foremost for me, like some kind of chord progression, and then if it's a good enough progression, you sometimes know, you're like, oh, I think I feel something here, or I think I hear something here, or even if you give it enough time, you'll inevitably, I think, come up with something, as long as you work at it.
So we checked you out on SoundCloud, and we're really enjoying your Cholo-Fi playlists. So,
Thank you.
oh yeah. So I was gonna say is, what genres were you trying to blend in to create this new lo-fi project?
Well, those are fun, like, projects in between, like, writing songs. I love just kind of cherry picking oldies, or like songs that have special meaning to me or my family, or like each mix, or I guess I've done 3 so far, has like they're a little bit different, but I would say I really took it seriously with like the second and third one, and with those, like the second volume 2 of Cholo-Fi, I called it like Hi Mija, and it just contained a lot of songs that my tia listened to, or like some records that she gave me, and like my tia is like your classic San Francisco ChicanX, like hippie, like pot smoking, awesome, like person to have in my life, and she loves music. She was going to all the shows in the 60s that were happening. She's got Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, classic hippie stories, and she's been an important influence on me in my life. So she gave me a bunch of her records, and I think that record, or that mixtape, I highlighted some songs that I found from records she'd given me, and then I basically sample her voice at the very, very end of the mixtape, and you can hear her talking about some trippy. I think she was just rambling off about something really funny that happened, and I ended up I didn't tell her, but I was recording her because she was so funny, and then I just recorded it and put it in the mixtape. And then with the second mixtape, they're all samples, and overall the project's really fun to do, because it's not just like songwriting, but it's like finding parts of songs that I love, like in just music that's out there. And sometimes I'll take just a little part that I love of a song and just loop it, or I'll try to blend a song into another song. It's just like another style of making music with electronic, software or hardware, So it's just a cool way to mix the two worlds of like playing an instrument and using some electronic music.
Okay, so talking about sampling, so like who or what are some of your favorite artists that you've sampled?
I would that's actually a secret. No, I'm just kidding. I should put on my Daft Punk mask right now. But I would say that even with Francisco Y Madero, like, it's kind of, we use the image of Perez Prado, which is like he's famous for a bunch of mambos that came out in the 50s, 60s. He has a lot of great music that spans from a few different. He's done music in the 50s, 60s, even in the 70s. But he's someone I feel like we sample a lot, and we've gone as far as to use his like image on like stickers that we used to make for merch. But he's someone that I don't really sample as much now currently with like Marinero, but with Francisco Y Madero, I think if you listen closely, you could hear his grunts. He has this famous grunt where he goes, ah, or whoo. And if you listen to some of our music, you'll be able to find some of it.
From your projects, which one has been the most difficult to manifest or create? Song content?
Oh, like what's been the most difficult?
Mm-hmm.
I guess with being in a band and being a performer, like when it comes to the music aspect of it or writing, I love that. I'm really comfortable. I'm more comfortable than I used to be, at least. And then when it comes to performing, you're always pushing it a little bit more. It's a craft in itself. And I think that, I've gone from playing guitar and staring at my shoes electric guitar to playing classical guitar on a stool, and to like now I'm getting to a point where I might start singing and just being like a front man and trying to do that, so it's like I'm stripping myself from all these other instruments and trying to push myself to like grow as an entertainer too, or like a performer, to try to create like this, a theatrics or a visual conceptual idea of what this, how to represent this music, or basically just give people an experience. So that's been the most difficult, because I'm stronger, I think, as making music, but it's definitely a cool process, and I guess it's difficult and maybe a little bit scary at times, but it's all really fun, to push yourself in ways that you're not comfortable with, and seeing what happens.
Okay, so you really enjoy the '60s music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any artists that you really like from the '60s, from that decade?
Oh yeah, there's so many artists. There's like we could nerd out about a lot of that, but I guess when I was younger, when I was probably your age, I was listening to Beach Boys and like the Beatles, and Hendrix, and as far as classic '60s artists, Santana, Malo. Like Santana was like the biggest inspirations, I think, earlier on, because like my tia and like my mom, like they all went to school together or knew each other in the Mission, and like grew up going to shows together or seeing their bands play. And like when I first started playing guitar, my mom was like, maybe I'll introduce you to Carlos someday, or like I don't know, like things like that. And she never did, but anyway, it was just like that '60s music, and like my tia, for instance, who was like a hippie from the '60s, like that stuff seemed so appealing to me, in like in a classic musical way, like in a classic rock way. Like it was just kind of like, it was cool to have someone that you could talk to about those things with, I guess, with family, or live in a place like San Francisco where those things really happened. And I mean, SF has a rich history of music in the '60s, obviously, and not just music, but I guess when I like to go back to what I was saying at first, like when I was a kid, it was just like the Beach Boys and the Beatles. I think that's like most like it's like grammar school, or getting your GED in music. It's like I feel like so much amazing music was made by those bands earlier on, and it's almost like nothing can really top it after that in certain ways when it comes to pop music. But it's like it was all of that, before I got into like grunge and punk music.
Okay. So we listened to your different styles and instruments in your projects, like Marinero and Cholo-Fi. So have you ever had the idea of blending these two projects together?
Yeah, with another group called Francisco Y Madero, that I'm a part of, with a partner who lives in Mexico City now, but he's from Guadalajara, or more specifically Tlaquepaque. And he and I have the project where it's really like a hybrid of the two. So if we're talking Marinero, which is more like live band instruments, songs, and very organic, and then we have Francisco Madero, or Cholo-Fi, sorry, which is like more sample based. We got these two different extremes. I feel like Francisco Madero, this other project I have, is kind of a balance of the two, where there's electronic music, there's samples, and then we also add live instruments too, and try to really blend the two. Like make a sample ours in certain ways by adding maybe a keyboard over a sample and trying to hide it, a little bit. But it's just I think there's great ways to where those worlds can both meet, and that just gives you more paint, color to paint with, as a creative. I think if you're just playing rock music or instruments, that's fine. But I think there's other worlds that that blend over, and it's just going to make, if you love music and all kinds of music, it's going to give you more variety and more opportunities to create.
Out of all the songs you've written, which one is your favorite?
Ooh. That's a good question. I guess I guess off the last record I made for Marinero, there's this one called Siempre en la clave de, and I think that's one of the songs that I shared with you all. So that's my favorite from the most current Marinero music that I've released. There's some new songs that I've made that I'm more excited about that we'll talk some other time about. But that's my favorite song, I guess. The chord changes in it, I'm really happy with the guitar parts, the melodies. It's just, I'm really satisfied with how that came together. And also the people that played on that record were really special to me. The musicians that I worked with, and we recorded it in Mexico, and it was just a really great experience. And so that song, I guess, would be, if I had to choose one out of a burning building, and grab one of them, I think that would be the one I would grab.
So this is our silly section with some non-conventional questions.
Sure.
So, if you could pick any exotic animal as a pet, who would it be and why?
If I could pick any exotic animal as a pet, oh, that's tough because even non-exotic pets, like, I don't even pick. But like, I can barely keep a plant alive is what I'm trying to say. But if I had to, I think a fish of some kind would be like the best, because it would be, I'd wave at it occasionally, and I would like throw some food. I wouldn't have to like clean up its mess or anything like that. But if it was like a really exotic, like this kind of works with maybe the Marinero theme. Maybe if I had like a dolphin, like room, like that was all glass, and I walked in and I was just like, and then we kind of like spoke sonar together at one point. We like could connect on some psychic level. That would be beautiful, just like positive vibrations from dolphins, just giving me love and me meditating with them on some different plane that humans can't even understand. Okay. Dolphins, obviously.
Yeah. So the $1 million question we have here at La Mesita.
Nice.
So, do you like pineapple on A, tacos al pastor, B, on your pizza, C, on sparkling water, or D, pineapples are for losers?
I wish I just said I would want to say D, but like just because it would be funny. But the first three options are great, but I've never tried C. But A is the answer. But I can go with either A or B easily, no problem. But pineapples are not for losers. But winners eat pineapple. That's my answer. On pizza or tacos, or put it in sparkling water, which I'll try someday.
Okay, last one. If somebody offers you a contract to make a record with only 2 instruments other than guitar, drums, or piano, what instruments would you choose and why? Okay, so I have a contract. I can't choose guitar, bass, or drums. Okay. That's the question. How do I do it? Mm-hmm. Oh, easy. So does drums mean no drum machine? No drums, no piano. No drums at all. No percussion? Mm-mm. Okay. No percussion of any kind. I'm signing a contract. I need to figure out. So this is an important thing to know. But I would use voice, like maybe piano or organ of some kind, and maybe do like a beautiful. This is the first thing to come to mind. I would do like a choral record, like no percussion, just like beautiful voices, doing all kinds of polyrhythms and just a beautiful choral record with a voice, like almost very church-like with organs, and it'd be like maybe my Enya or like a new age record. Does that sound good? Yes. Okay, voice and organ. That's what I would choose. Okay. Well, our time is running out, but not without asking you first. Any plans you have for the upcoming year of 2021? New album, projects, or collaboration? With Francisco Y Madero, we've been talking about doing a disco record or a disco cha-cha-cha record, and that would entail me moving or spending some time in Mexico with him in Mexico City.
And with Marinero, I have some really exciting news to announce like early next year, in January of 2021. So stay tuned for that. But I have some new music to release with hopefully both projects.
Okay, so can you tell us where we can listen to you and support you? Also, your social media for the people who would like to follow you.
Yeah. So I'm on all the streaming services. Marinero. There may be a couple others, but I guess the most recent record is called Tropico de Cancer, and then you could find me that way. That album will be a dead giveaway that it's me. And then High Tone is another record that I made. Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud. Francisco Y Madero is my other project on the same platforms. And then I just got this new legit Instagram where I'm it's got this blue little mark on it. That means I'm legitimized or something, the little check mark. So find me on Marinero, MARIN_GUERO. I usually check my Instagram constantly. I'm usually posting stuff on there that's probably most current or up to date. So follow me on Instagram. Check out my music on all the streaming platforms. I'm everywhere.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time today at La Mesita. Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me at La Mesita. Thank you, Charlie, Steph, all of you beautiful, wonderful interviewers. To all the listeners, thank you for having me. And I can't wait to give you all a hug in Chicago someday soon.
We want to thank our listeners and see you all next time for more interviews and music jams. My name is Abisai and
Aaron.
And enjoy your week.
La clave